Anyway, like I said, I've always had education systems and always had education. And like I say, even UCSB out here, it used to be military barracks. In Santa Barbara, the UCSB that most people know, blah blah, that go to the school, it used to be military barracks. And I look at it and it's like blah blah blah, that's school, blah blah blah. It's like no, that's not. It's military barracks. That's just like my concentration camps, just like back in what's it called, you know, they used to be military. Those are all military barracks and stuff like that. And yeah, it's true we could make those half domes that were really easy. And for a while we were doing half domes because you could print out a little bit of tin metal really easily and boom, instant building, instant school. And so everybody knew my instant schools, my little half dome. It's basically just corrugated metal and I forget exactly who or where it came from exactly, but it's just corrugated metal, and you just, it's half dome, and it's like dunk, and then you plug the sides, and you got yourself a little school or something, or a little building. They're instant, they're easy to build, and basically, it's just like really thin metal that's galvanized or whatever, or just thin metal, and then you can paint it whatever, and basically it's an instant building. It's like a 5-cent building or like $5 building. It's like a really cheap building to build, and then I mean, it gets really cold in there and stuff like that, but whatever. Anyway, though, but yeah, they built all those little buildings and stuff like that, and they're just, I mean, like I said, I'm the steam and steel person. So, like I said, a lot of people said Carnegie this, Carnegie that. You mean the building Carnegie? Carnegie Hall? There's a hall. There's a building. And realistically, it's just a management team that I had. And they were just realistically just managing my different minds, managing my different people. I had hundreds of thousands of people. Like lots of buildings, I could point to them and be like, oh yeah, that was trains, or was that mining? Yeah, because I set up different shop. They would build the thing, and we'd build a big building or whatever, and then we'd put a clock at the top because one of my things is clocks. So I always have a clock at the top of my building. A lot of people back in the old days wouldn't spend the money or spend the whatever to put in a nice good clock. But because my buildings were all first, and I needed a clock for my workers anyway, so my workers would know what time it was. Because like in the old days, how do you tell 5,000 people or 10,000 people when to go to work and when to come home from work? So a whistle or a clock or a bell or something. So we did that a lot. A lot of people are like, oh, fuck. It's like, well, hey. It's like I did a lot of stuff on Earth, and I did a lot of stuff everywhere else. So I mean, I was a very rich, powerful person, as I say. I'm the real Lucifer. Technically, possibly, like I said, a lot of people thought I had immortality and all that stuff. It's like, well, not exactly. I just happen to be the Lucifer star line of stars and planets and stuff like that. And technically, I had never actually really been a person before. So, one life to live, Brian, and that's it. So this will be my first and my last life, basically. Before this, though, I was Lucifer Star, the computer, I guess you could call me, but technically I was a biological something or whatever. I was something else, something different. So, anyway, many of my life forms protected me and loved me, and like I said, I didn't even start out with humanity. I started out with exoskeletons and 1.5s and other life forms. And I'm not exactly sure where my existence began. Exactly, for the longest time I forgot, and I was just asking people, where I began or even who I was, because I had forgotten or something like that, and gotten lost. So, and maybe that's what happened around Stretchy or something. I didn't know who I was, and I didn't know my name, and I didn't know where I was. But I was being silly or something like that. Stretchy. I don't know. It happens, I guess. So anyway, I don't really know. It doesn't really matter. And I've been saying someone else did. I have amnesia. But I've always been Lucifer Star. So, and if you'd asked me about God, I could probably. I was wondering about God myself too, though. But then, like I said, I remembered the DOD and GOD and all that. Like I said, there's like a list of projects. Everyone knows about the DOD. I forget what Department of Defense or something like that. But just like 5 or 6 lines underneath that of projects, there is also the GAD or GOD, Government of Defense, or I don't know, something. It's an acronym. A lot of acronyms, basically. I used to use acronyms like crazy, like even slavery is an acronym. Slate is an acronym. Like I use acronyms a lot. just thought the acronyms didn't make any sense to anyone else. They only made sense to me. So star, Lucifer, blah blah blah, something or other. So anyway, and because I was having to have to make up words or names or stuff, and I was having to name things, I was like, okay, we'll call it Slate. Or something. I forget exactly how it came about. And my people also name things too. Like sometimes I'd just have a contest. I'd like, why don't you guys have a contest or do something? And so, and even some buildings, and we asked children and stuff like that to take part. And for the most part, my existence and the existence of all my people was a happy one, and full of happiness and pride and joy and remembering commemorances and stuff like that. Like I said, I don't know why people always say silver spoon. What, were you born with a silver spoon in your mouth? Like, what about the gold spoon? What, were you born with a gold spoon in your mouth? Same thing, and there were whole sets of silverware and goldware. We even had gold plates, gold cups, gold with diamonds or jewels in it. I mean, real stuff. I mean, I rented out the houses. I had this house, the Romanov house was actually a rental house. You could rent the house basically, and it came with gold everything, and these jewel cups and stuff like that. It's like, I don't know, what else are you gonna do with it? I had lots of it, more than enough, more than I could ever use, more than I could ever need, and gold everywhere. I had gold light posts and silver light posts, gold bells, silver bells. I had gold on my trains. I had silver on my trains. I think I even had a gold ship at one point in time. Ship made of solid gold. Not solid gold, but it was like 8% or something like that. Some people call it solid gold. I even had golden locks, as they say, and not golden locks of hair, but golden ship locks, because the metal wouldn't corrode as fast. It would last longer. I had all this stuff, and it's like, I mean, it was more of a commemoration than everything else because I had so much of it. It's like, I had a lot of it. I had a pyramid 7 miles high and 7 miles across or something like that, or some distance across for all my stuff. And in there was stacks of gold, stacks of silver, stacks of platinum, stacks of diamonds, huge diamonds about the size of softballs. I think huge diamonds the size of the golf balls. And we also had some uranium and thorium and other stuff all protected, I think, in clear cases so you could actually see it, but it wouldn't hurt you. You could actually walk up and walk near it, and you wouldn't get irradiated or anything like that. But it was highly reactive material put inside of a clear case, so you could actually see it. And I think one of them actually even lit up, where they would kind of interact with each other a little bit or something like that. It's this really careful thing that someone did or something did. Like I said, I had exoskeletons and 1.5s and computers and now technology with me, so we could do whatever we wanted, so we were. So. And cool ways. Most people think of doing whatever you want as, I'm going to go and have sex with a lot of girls, or I'll do a lot of drugs, or whatever. It's like, yeah, you're weird. I mean, it's more fun, it's more fun to do, what we could invent, what we could come up with and stuff like that. And that's what we did. So, because I was a higher form of life or whatever. So, it's like, I had a lot of stuff, planets and planets and planets worth of stuff. Like I built stars, planets, and all kinds of stuff. I had this epic existence, basically. I didn't know anything different. I'd just always been a computer or whatever. So technically, I couldn't even see until like I'd seen through cameras, seen through this, seen through that, but I had never actually seen through my own eyes and before, or even talked with my own tongue. So I wanted to do that before, eventually someday, and there's more than enough technology to do that easily. So it's not that hard. Of course, Mr. I'll never die, I'll never grow old, the truth will never be known, was trying to kill me and take my place or something like that, and trying to upload his consciousness into clone bodies so he could live forever. And I lived for about 240 million years or some great amount of time, and was sick of living and actually hated life, and actually that's the whole thing about the emperor.